Hello and welcome to episode 3 of Indie String. Hope you guys are having a lovely day and you can grab your knitting and tea, coffee, whatever you're drinking, and sit with me a little bit and talk about what I'm working on this week and how this week has been going. We'll start off like we always do with our works in progress, and I have two. So we'll start with the one I'm very excited about. I'm working on the Vine Loop Cowl by Melissa LeBaire, and I will pull it up here so you can see the pattern and a wonderful picture of it. There it is. It's a nice long cowl that has lace detail on it. It's very simple once you get through it, and as I talked about last week, I knit this once before and really liked the finished object. So now I'm knitting another one. I don't know if it's going to be for me or it's going to be for someone else, but so enjoyable. I'm knitting it twice. So here a little bit. That's pretty true to color. It's a little washed out. I'm sorry. I'm recording at night on Sunday for a few reasons. One is because you'll see behind me. So excited. My chalkboard is up that my father made me. And so my husband put that up this evening, and so I wanted to wait until it was up to record my first time with it. Okay. But anywho, it's going by quickly. This is about a third done. This is actually almost exactly a third. So next week I should have it finished. And as I talked about earlier, I'm alternating skeins. I'm knitting this out of Becoming Art in her agave base, which is 70% merino, 20% cashmere, and a 10% nylon. And it is a very nice yarn. I've knit with it before and I do really like it. It's 200 yards of skein, and it is available on her website right now. Not in this color, but she does have a custom sweater lots open, the last that I saw. And it's really nice, you know, knitting with 20% cashmere yarn has a great feel, and it goes pretty quickly. It's luxurious to say the least. But so I'm really happy with that. I'm knitting it on size 8 US needles. And a funny story, I'm trucking along and I'm knitting. You know, the first several rows at least, I'm looking at this pretty intently to get the pattern established and make sure I don't miff it up so I don't have to rip it out. And I have these little dents on the end of my needles, and I keep looking and I'm twisting it, thinking, what could that be? Well, my husband got a puppy last year. She's only one, and I guess she likes my needles. So I am going to have to do a better job of keeping them away from her. Thankfully, they're not hurting this. They weren't very big dents, and they're not affecting it at all. Thank goodness gracious. But I'm keeping this in my Tangerine Designs submarine bag. Isn't it so cute? Makes me happy. The great thing about these bags is a drawstring at the top, and I have 2 full worsted weight skeins in here, plus my project, plus needles. And it closes easily. The inside is a little bit different. It kind of looks like flags or maybe like an abstract ocean. I think it's supposed to be an abstract ocean. I do really like it. It has a nice, that is a loop on the inside to thread your yarn through so it doesn't get tangled. Also, I do really like that she always has a coordinating toggle right there. And she has on the side a snap closure so you can attach it to your bag or whatever else you need. But her bags are lovely. As always, I have several of them, but I'm using this for that project. That's coming along nicely. Hopefully it'll be done next week. So we'll keep on working on that. My next project is something that is coming out of a hibernating state. You know, normal. And I'm sorry I'm looking down. I'm just looking at my iPad so I can bring up the pattern for you here. And it is the Airdom sweater, and I don't know if you'll remember, I talked about this in episode 1, I believe, but I'm knitting this actually as a present. And so this is on US size 5s in Squish Fiber Arts silky sock, which is 50% silk, 50% merino. And you know what, the coloring isn't as dramatic in person as it's looking on the screen, that pooling there, but that is, you know, what you do with a hand dyed. And I did not alternate this actually. And so that's the body. It's like just a nice top down raglan with that garter turtleneck. There's that little, let me see if I can get a garter stitch down here, and then the bottom is also a nice garter stitch, which helps it flare out a little bit, because garter stitch, when that stitch in its essence is wider for the same stitch count as stockinette, which is this, just this fabric here. This is called stockinette and this is called garter. And so this garter down here is wider than the stockinette section. So when you switch to that, it didn't decrease any stitches. So they're the same amount of stitches that are in the stockinette section that's in this garter stitch section. It naturally makes it increase a little bit and flare out. This is pretty long. It's from armpit to down is 18.5 stitches is what I knit. And so to accommodate a waist and a behind, honestly, I needed it to flare out a little bit, and that did it. And that was built in right into the pattern. I did not change anything. And I'm sorry if this is redundant, or some of you are watching this and are thinking, duh. But my family watches this, and they've said more than once, we don't know what you're talking about. So I'm trying to explain it a little bit better so it makes sense. But this is it. I'm just going to have to pick up my sleeve here. These are, this is just waste yarn that I put to keep the stitches from unraveling here. And I will pick them up and I will knit down on the sleeve. And a funny story, this is actually for someone in my husband's family, and he was looking and he's like, oh my gosh, it's looking so great, I love it so much. He goes, I even like those strings on the side. I'm like, they're not gonna stay. Oh goodness. But anyways, I'm excited. I'm gonna pick that back up hopefully this week, and at least pick up the stitches and start working down that one sleeve. But you know what that means, right? We're gonna move on to finished objects, and I have a finished object. Well, kind of. I did just find off on this, excuse me, iced tea. And this is all the yarn that I have left of my lemongrass sweater that I'm knitting. Wow, that was cutting it close for me. This is, so I had 6 skeins of Madeline Tosh Chunky in the Steam Age colorway, and this was knit on size 10 needles, and here it is. And I have not blocked it. I have not weaved in any of the ends, as you can see. It's a little bit of a nightmare. But so what I'll do this week is I will wet block it, which is to submerge it completely in water with, I use soak, which is a wool wash. And then I'll take it out and I'll lay it dry flat. I did put this on this evening to see how it looked on me. And to be honest, it needs to block out a little bit. I need it to be a little bit wider and to lay flatter, which that should in blocking. This is a superwash. In my experience with all other Madeline Tosh superwash yarns, especially vintage, is it does really have a lot of give in it and stretch in the blocking when it's wet. If not, you know, there's other people that would probably like it. But yay! So all I have to do is the finishing. And I'll have a new sweater. So that's exciting. Spring is almost sprung here. We'll have like 4 days of nice and 3 days of badness. So I hopefully can wear this on a day that's a little bit colder at work. And it's so squishy. So I really, really like it. I'm excited. It's a different style for me. I've never worn this type of sweater with a turtleneck with the sides open. And I'm hoping that it's going to be okay. If it doesn't look okay, we'll put it in a gift bin and someone will love it, or maybe I'll give it away on the podcast. Who knows? But yay. So moving right along. Oh, I'm rip-roaring it today. 10 minutes. I'm through 2 things. I don't have a ton to talk about, unfortunately. But I did want to talk about spinning. And I'm sorry, I'm looking down. Those are where my notes are so I can stay on track and completely with you guys. So I did finish half of my Squish Fiber Arts, which is a half merino, half alpaca blend. And a merino is a type of sheep, and alpaca is an alpaca. It's not a sheep. It's actually a different type of animal. And it's blues and browns and teals. And I had 8 ounces of this, and this is only 4. It came out great. I really, really like it. And what I did is I spun one bump completely, which is 4 ounces, and I spun another 4 ounces completely, and then I applied them together, and I'm very, very, very happy I did that. One bump or 4 ounces was much lighter, had a lot more like greeny teals in it, and the other one was much bluer. And so by combining them, I'm really evening out that distribution of color, which is great. And so in the end, it'll look good. I did really good. On my second bump, I spun much more even all the way through. It's a very, very consistent spin, which is more of my more of the way I spin. My first bump started out pretty even, and then as I told you, I kind of had like a hurry up, hurry up, hurry up, and it became much thicker and inconsistent, and then at the end it was much more consistent again. And part of that is not only me hurrying, but it's trying to figure out this fiber a little bit. This is the first time I have spun alpaca, and I heard 100% alpaca is difficult, and I don't know because I've never spun it. So what I did is I chose a blend, which is the 50%. So the merino, I've spun a lot of merino, as I think every spinner has, and it helps stabilize it a little bit. So I'm very happy with it. I don't know what it'll become. It depends. It is between a sport and a DK weight. So that's a pretty good, accurate representation. Very, very excited about it. So squishy. You know, that's what we always say. But I haven't blacked this as well. I will completely submerge this and black it as well, just like I would a sweater, and I'll hang it to dry. And I will do that with the second skein once I have it completely applied. And I will show it to you the 2 next week, and I'll give you the total yardage. I haven't even counted this yet. This came off the wheel this afternoon. It was a day of finishing, I tell you. I finished my sweater today, and I finished this. So, I know I'm spinning that bat as well, which I will, after I do that, I'll spin that bat. That bat, honestly, is about 2 ounces. It won't take me very long. It will take me a day or 2. So what's going on after that? Well, as I talked about last week, I wanted to spin this into the whorl. And I have 2 bumps of this, each bump being 4 ounces, and this is a 85% Polworth, 15% silk, I'm sorry. And so I'm very excited to spin this. I've actually never spun a Polworth silk one, which I've heard is amazing. But I was able to, for the first time ever, catch an Into the World update. And I actually ordered a coordinating color for this. In the, I think it's pink. I think it's like the deeper pink down here, and I'm sorry for that glare, but I don't really want to take this out. But I'm waiting for it to come in because it's going to be dependent upon what I do. If it is a pink, then what I'm going to do is I'm going to spin each 3 4-ounce lots of it, and then I'll apply it together into a true 3-ply. And I actually love 3-ply. It's my favorite yarn end product to actually knit with. And so that would be an idealism. However, if it's peach, I don't know. I really don't like peach. And I'm afraid that I can't get through 4 ounces of a solid peach color and a consistent without being like, just get it off, and hurrying up and then increasing the diameter, which would throw off the balance of the whole yarn. And so instead of starting this and thinking I know what I'm going to do with it, I'm going to wait until that comes in. And that was just a Friday update. It hasn't even shipped yet. So I don't expect, I should have that next week, hopefully. But if they ship it on Monday, I might. But if not, the week after that, I'll have it. And then that's when I'll start making big plans for this and deciding exactly what I want to do with it. So in the meantime, what I'm going to, I'm sorry, it's at the evening. I'm trying to rush through. I still have to work tonight, and it's already almost 10. But I apologize. I'll try to go slower. I'm going to spin some Pigeon Roof. Pigeon Roof is actually one of my favorite dyers. I have quite a bit of her stuff. And I'll just show you the label. I can't read her handwriting. It's a 50% merino silk, 4.5 ounces. And I think it's called Charter. I think that's what it's called. Charter? Yeah. Be warned, I mean, I love her stuff, and she is a delightful person, but her handwriting is atrocious. A lot of times what I'll do is, when she used to be on Etsy, I used to go back and just review my ordering history with her, but now that she's on Big Cartel, it doesn't have that same feature. Big Cartel doesn't actually keep an inventory or a reference of what you've bought in the past or what the dyers have sold in the past, as Etsy does. And so when it comes in, I usually put a sticky note on it or write on it because I cannot read her handwriting. And I don't spin everything right away. But anyways, this is what I think I'm going to do next. And it is really a lovely, lovely colorway. It's looking a little bit more teal. It's actually green. Much greener. And then I'll show you the other side. The other side's a little darker. But so that'll be beautiful. She really does quite a bit of short repeats with her color saturation, and so what I like to do with hers is I almost always Navajo ply hers. And the reason why is because those short bursts of color I want to keep together. Navajo plying is just a fancy way of saying that when I spin it, I want to keep these colors together. And so I'm going to try, we'll see, I'm going to try to get something that's really consistent in preparation for doing that 3-ply. And so it's much more automatic for me instead of thinking about it. And so I'm going to practice on this fiber a little bit and try to get a 3-ply fingering out of it, which will take me a little bit to spin. It will take me more than a week for sure. But I think it'll be worth it. It's a beautiful, beautiful olives and turquoises and plums. She has a lot of colors in her colorways. Huh. Okay. So I'm pretty sure. And it's so pretty. I'm very excited about it. So I'll probably prep that tomorrow. Okay, so we're right on to the last segment, and oh my gosh, only 17 minutes in. This might be the shortest episode ever. Not really hard because I only have 3, but you know, still. So, I actually have quite a bit for rants and raves. So let's start with the raves. You know, start off on a positive note. And I really wanted to talk to you about a review of a club. So I was, goodness gracious, several years ago, pretty club happy. I was in quite a few clubs, and it's pretty much the only thing that I have. So a lot of times you're going to be seeing stuff and you're going to be like, that's a club colorway, that's a club colorway. And I really apologize for that because you can't sometimes get them. A lot of times, a lot of my club colorways are older, and so you can special order them as they're not, you know, stone in a vault forever. So if you really love something, just let me know. I'll get you the dyer information and the colorway and the base, and so you have all of it if you would like to contact them and custom order it. But the club that I've been in the longest and been the happiest with by far is Squish Fiber Arts. I think that's because of 2 solid reasons for her. She is very consistent, and I mean consistent, where I will get a skein and I'll really like it, and I'll have a call out that I want another one because I have a bigger project in mind, or maybe I want to try to collect a sweater's quantity worth of that colorway, and in all instances except one, they have matched perfectly, and I've never had to alternate. So I like knitting with her a lot because if I get a dye lot, or even if I get stuff that's pretty similar, I either can do the cheater alternation, which is I get to the part of the end of the skein and I add in a new skein kind of every other row to blend it, to trick your eye. So when I use the new skein, you don't see like this line that says, hey, I started something right here. Which I don't think I have anything like that, because I hate that. But if I do find something, I'll let you know, and I'll show you what I mean by that. But basically, hand dyeing is such an art, but no matter who it is, each skein can be different, even if it's in the same dye lot. And so if I have something that's a shade or two lighter, it may not be evident when I'm looking at them in the skein, but when you knit them and then you look back at it from farther away, you can see that slight shading difference. And so I might have 4 inches of a sweater in the first skein of yarn and 4 inches in the second skein of yarn, and that difference of those skeins will be uber apparent to the naked eye. And so what you do is you kind of blend them where that meeting joins, and it kind of gradually will shift, even if it's very close. If you have lots and lots of different dye lots, or there's a huge difference, you have to alternate every row, which is what I did with my lemongrass, which I'm sorry, I'll bend down and get it. Apologize for the reaching. But you can see that pretty evidently on the front. Those stripes back and forth, like zebra stripes, these are different dye lots. So this is all alternating. And see the back, those dye lots were closer, and you can see that it looks like one consistent skein or dye lot or yarn. And so I like hers because her consistency is fabulous. Whether I get something directly from her or a de-stash, her quality is great. And so that has been fabulous. Not saying that if the same would be true for you, or that I count on it every time, because, you know, there is differences in dye lots. And here's the biggest thing. She's also super consistent on when she sends it out. She sends out her yarn or fiber on the 5th. The latest she sends it out, I think she sent it out this month on the 6th, which is that Friday. It was Saturday. But within 2 to 3 days of that time, every single month. And I have been in this club for years and years and years. I have been on the yarn side. I have been on the fiber side. I've been on the sock, the sweater. I've been in it all. In every club she's had, I have partaked in it at some point. And it is like a clock. And I really love that about her yarn club. There is other dyers that I have been part of that, not saying that they aren't fantastic and that the product was well worth the wait, but there was an inconsistency when they would send it. You would never know. I mean, some people would say my club runs January, February, March, but they don't send their fiber out until the last day of January. So you don't get your January fiber until February. And then you basically, I feel guilty saying to them, hey, where's my stuff? I know I shouldn't feel that way because I paid for it, but I do. I hate to have to go back and check with them. And part of that is my problem, because maybe I misunderstood or I didn't understand their schedule. But and some people flex that time. They'll say, I'm going to send it within a week, or I'm going to send it within these 2 weeks. I'm going to play it by ear. Or if they have a festival, they push out their club and they do their festival. Now, I totally understand that in business, and I understand they have to do what they have to do. And I choose to be part of their yarn club. And for some yarn clubs, that's just part of the bargain. But her squish fiber art, she's unbelievably timely. And it's awesome. It's one of my favorite things. So I really love her dye sense. I really love the colors. I haven't been ever extremely disappointed. And the consistency, not only with color, but also with timing. So I would highly recommend her, and go check her out. So the next, basically, all of it is, I'm looking down and trying to choose. I have like 6 things listed, and I can't do them all, overwhelm you with my nothingness. But the week has been really good. We got new furniture, which was fabulous, and I kind of feel like an adult, and so that's been really exciting and fun. And very nice guys that delivered it. You know, you never, I always get a little weary about asking people inside my house delivering things, and I don't know, maybe it's from all those movies and TV shows, but very good delivery guys. We got Lazy Boy Furniture, and it's fantastic and lovely, and we've just been chilling out all weekend and just kind of hanging out on it. But in the future, I'm going to work on that one sweater that is for my husband's family member. I'm going to knit that cowl right up. She'll be done next week, and I'll hopefully put something else on the needles. But I don't know what it is. And I wish I could tell you, but it just seems to be a lot of people to knit for lately, and they're just kind of popping up. As people are unfortunately sick, and there's people at work that have family members that are, going through a rough time that have asked me to knit for them, and I would be happy to. And so it's going to kind of be dependent upon who gets in their order first, if that makes any sense. And I want to knit for these people and knit my thoughts and my feelings and my love for their good health and good life into these items, but I need a little bit of guidance about what they like and what they don't like. And so hopefully this week I'll be able to whip out that cowl and get that all done, which I'm super excited about. I'll probably keep it, to be honest, because I love it. And then I'll start knitting for other people. Typically what I try to do is I try to knit one thing for me on the needles and then one thing for someone else. But for a while I might have everything be for someone else, which is great. If my knitting can bring someone happiness, that's actually wonderful to me. That makes me unbelievably happy. I don't ever think of myself as a selfish knitter. I really try to think of myself as this is my hobby, this is my enjoyment, this is what I do to calm myself and to be happy. But if I can transfer those wonderful feelings to someone else, what a gift. And really, I'm very lucky, very, very lucky to have found this craft in this community and be able to give just even a tiny little slice of that to someone else. And so those are all my rants. But I have rants and raves, I guess. I do have one rant, which is, what is with people in public giving other people evil looks? Come on, don't judge people. Don't judge. You don't know. I don't know you. You don't know me. I had like a skull cap on, and it was from my husband's alma mater, and it's had, the university's emblem, LSSU, and had engineering under it. And I was going to the bathroom and washed my hands nicely, and this woman looked over at me, and she looked me up and down and looked at my hat and then just gave me an evil look. And then driving to the store, we got flipped off, and I was like, come on! We weren't doing anything wrong in this particular instance. Not to say that my husband doesn't drive a little bit on the wild side sometimes, but in this particular instance we did. So I guess my disappointment is with strangers this week. Don't judge. I really try not to judge, and sometimes it's hard, but someone walking down the street, don't judge me. I don't judge you, man. Keep it to yourself. Maybe the world would be a nicer place if everyone just kept it to themselves. Oh. And then what's on my mannequin this week? Jackie. This is my Color Affection. I had to think about that by Vera. I can't say her last name. I apologize. I'll put it up below. But this is knit out of 3 skeins of Plucky Knitter in her cashmere fingering weight. I think it's called Plucky Feet. But she is actually a Michigan dyer, and I'm from Michigan, so I love to support her. And I was in her club for a limited time. I think for for a year. And this is actually was 2 colors of club yarn and then 1 color of I bought a kit at one point. So I think the very light cream color is called oatmeal, which is just like a very light tan or cream, depending, you know, it's one of those colors that depends upon what you put it against. This shading may change it, but it's a very nice light neutral. And then the blue and the, it's almost like a mauve, are club colorways, and I apologize, I can't even remember what they are. I got them 3 years ago. So yay for stash busting. I knit for my stash most of the time. I actually don't buy things and then knit them right away. I usually let them marinate for a number of years. But so this is the shawl that I think I might knit again. But it is super huge, and I when I did block this, but I didn't aggressively block this. And what that means is that sometimes when you go and you submerge something and you get it to the last stages of finishing, you will take it and you'll stretch it out, and you see how much I can make that. This isn't even wet. When the wool is wet, it will stretch even more, and you can make it stay that way. Wool has memory, where if I block it like that and then it dries like that, it may bounce back a little bit, but it will keep the shape in which you block it in, which is another wonderful property. But anyways, so I really didn't aggressively block this. Block? What is that? But anyways, block this. So it is quite large. I did knit this larger than the pattern states. Not giving too much away. This third section, you stop it at some point, and I didn't. I just made it as large as possible until I almost ran out of yarn. And I have very, very little left, like very similar to this, of this blue color. And so I do love it. I wear it often at work. It has a 20% cashmere in this yarn. Hey, it's a thing. And it's very, very comfortable and very, very warm. And not only is it so big, but I can wear it multiple ways because of the largeness of the shawl. It's pretty deep, but it, which is, you know, it's pretty deep, but it's also very long, which helps me create different effects with it. So I wear this probably to work more than anything else in that, and it's super neutral and it matches almost everything. So that was a lot. I think almost 50% was me just babbling on about my life, rants and raves and reviews. So hopefully everyone enjoyed it. I hope you guys have a wonderful week, and it's filled with blessings and love and knitting. So we'll see you next week. Thanks so much, everyone.